Hi everybody, I'm Bill Sanders and this is Watch Art Sci, the art and science of watch collection. Today we're going to be talking about Grönefeld watches, and these are the creations of two brothers, Bart and Tim Grönefeld, who are third generation watchmakers. Their grandfather and father were both watchmakers in Oldenzaal in the Netherlands, Holland. So anyhow, I think you're going to find their watches really fascinating. They're quite something. The first one is the Grönefeld 1941 Decennium Tourbillon. 1941 was the date their father was born, and so that's where the 1941 comes from. And it's a tourbillon. And the interesting thing about it is a tourbillon with an automatic. And the rate of this is the frequency is 3 hertz, which is 21,600 semi-oscillations per hour. It has a free sprung balance with Phillips terminal overcoil curve with a triangular hairspring stud. Now, what we're going to see is that as we go on, we're going to find more and more of exactly the same kind of setup. The watch itself is 39.5 millimeters, very expensive, 145,000 euros, but it's a very nice watch. This next watch is one of my two favorites of the Grönefeld watches. This is the Grönefeld 1941 Remwah. By Remwah, they're talking about a Remwah d'égalité, which is something I had talked to Stephen Gourbe about, and he had said, I had asked him, I said, well, why don't more people have them? And he said, because they're very hard to do. They don't look very hard, but they are. And as a result, there aren't too many of them. F.B. Jorn has one, and a few other ones have them too, but not too many. And this one, I like this one. It's very simple, and I mean simple in terms of the dial. And this won the 2016 men's watch. The men's watch award is one of the most competitive that there are at the Grand Prix, so it's really something. By the way, I have on my Kristen Vanderklaw watch, which is another Dutch-made watch, so it's in honor of the Grönefeld Brothers. Okay, now this watch is 49,500, which sounds like a bargain. This is in rose gold, and 44,990 euro in steel. Again, this one is 39.5 millimeters. Now, this next watch is sort of it would be like a kind of everyday watch that you could wear for your entire life, I think. Again, it's 39.5 millimeters, and in steel, it's 29,950. Now, that's a lot of money, but it's not as much as the other ones. And again, he was asking why the watch is so expensive. He said they take a long time to make because they're all hand done. The Grönefeld 1941 Principia Automatic, just like everyday automatic watch. Now here again, we find the same thing. We find the 3 hertz movement, 21,600 semi-oscillations per hour, the free sprung balance with the Phillips terminal overcoil, and the triangle hairspring stud. Okay, I'm not sure why that's important, but it is. Okay, now one of the things that they have that's sort of interesting is that they have the Grönefeld Bespoke. And these are the ones that are here are the different kinds of treatments they can give to Remwah, but they can give it to the other ones as well. One is Guilloche in enamel, the one on the far left there. The middle one is simply Guilloche dial, And then the last one is called a fish scale Guilloche. So there are different kinds of Guilloches. You have different colors and, of course, different bands, different kinds of metal. So there are a lot of combinations. There aren't that many styles of models that they have, but the ones they have, there are a number of variations on them. All right, this next watch is called the Parallax Tourbillon, and 2014, this won the award for the best tourbillon. And again, when you win the best tourbillon, you're up against every other really high level tourbillon. So it was a big prize. About 4 o'clock, you can see a little SW dial down there. What that is for is the set and wind. And it's connected to the crown. If the crown is out, that means you can set it, and it pops down to the S. When you push it in to wind, it pops up to the W. So it's sort of a neat little thing to have for S and W. Up in about 10 o'clock, you can have the power reserve indicator up there. Interesting watch. Now, this next one, I mentioned I have two favorites, Grönefeld. This is my other favorite. I really like this watch, and it's called the Grönefeld 1896 1 Hertz. Now, the first thing that you may have already noticed is that it says 21,600 semi-oscillations per hour, free-sprung balance, and so forth, the same as everything else. You say, wait a minute, that's 3 hertz. How can it have 1 hertz? Well, what they've done is really interesting. The great big subdial is sort of down on the lower left third of the watch, probably more than a third, about 3/5 of the watch. This great big dial for the second hand. Now, the second hand is jumping seconds. And the way they set this up, they really have literally 2 watches in there. They have the regular minute and hour hand up there around 1 o'clock. And then this great big second hand is the jumping seconds. And so what happens is that in a single hour, there are 3,600 seconds. And so what happens is that 3,600 vibrations per hour is 1 hertz. So this is where they get the 1 hertz from, the 1896 1 hertz. Now, the thing about this watch that's really amazing is that it's got 2 gear trains. One is for the regular timekeeping, and the other one is for the jumping second. And so it's got like 2 watches in one, and one is just for the jumping seconds. Very expensive, 73,550 euros. It's a nice, good-sized watch, 43 millimeters, pretty big one. I love this watch. So now, one of the things is that I'm probably not going to be coming into that kind of money anytime soon, but I had been looking at another jumping second, and this was on the Jaeger-LeCoultre 2 second. And it has a little remontoire that is not connected to the other rest of the timekeeping. And so they have there's sort of an interesting parallel. The big difference is that I can realistically expect to afford the Jaeger-LeCoultre. This one I can't, but it's a cool concept anyway. And this is where they get their 1 hertz from. The Grönefeld Brothers and Grönefeld watches have won a lot of awards. They have to keep up. They have to have limited editions, and so when they say there's a limited edition, it's not because they're trying to make more money from a single watch, but realistically, that's how many they can produce. Given the way they want to produce watches, which is by hand, and everything is hand beveled, and all of the on-lodge is done by that, and the 2 brothers plus whoever they have helping them. Anyway, so Grönefeld represents, this is another one of those exceptional horologies. Of course, the problem with exceptional horology, it usually involves very low production numbers and very high prices and very talented watchmakers, and the Grönefeld Brothers are certainly have done that. And you never know, just someday something may come along and fall in my lap. In the meantime, I have my Christian Vanderklaw for my Dutch watch. Well, listen, I'd like to get your opinions of this, any kind of feedback you have. And I know some people who have these watches, and they seem to like them quite a bit. Okay, well, until Sunday, when we have our collection review, this is Bill Sanders for Watch Art Sci, the art and science of watch collection.